Welcome back, students. So in the previous video we had spoken about the very important theorem related to trigonometry with respect to the concept of limits, that is limit of sin x by x as x tends to 0 is equal to 1. The important thing that I had told you to make a note of it was the angle whatever sine takes, the same thing should be there in the denominator and the same angle should tend to 0. Okay, so if you have something like that, then you can write the limit as directly is equal to 1. And we had seen many application of that theorems of like limits of algebra and all those things. Okay, so we'll continue with the problem so that it will be slightly revised and you will also get a idea. Now since you have idea how to solve the problems, it will be interesting for you to solve a few more problems and then a problem related to the limits. Okay, so what is this question? Limit ax plus x into cos x. Okay, what is the question? Limit ax plus x into cos x divided by b sin x. So as I had told you earlier, whenever you see a trigonometric functions, try to convert it into sin x by x form. Okay, so that since we know that particular theorem, we can use it directly. Okay, so now before continuing, first thing you have to do whenever you get a problem related to limits, the first thing you have to do is substitute the value. Okay, the first thing you have to do is substituting the value. That is, if you put x is equal to 0 in this particular equation, what you will get? A into 0 plus 0 into cos 0 divided by b sin 0. So as I told you earlier, evaluating at that particular point means you have to put at wherever you have x, put it as 0. So a into 0 is 0, 0 into anything is 0, so 0 plus 0 is 0. So numerator is 0. Coming to the denominator, b into sin 0 is 0, so is 0 by 0. So we got it in the form 0 by 0, which is indeterminate form. So when you get an indeterminate form, which means you cannot find limit directly by substituting the value of for x, but instead you have to make some changes in the question. So what is that change? Okay, what is that change that you have to do? Okay, first when you see the question, what you can see common in the numerator? You can see an x is common in the numerator, correct? You can see an x is common, so take it out. Okay, if you take x outside, what is remaining? A plus cos x. Okay, if you take x outside, it is a plus cos x divided by b into sin x. A plus cos x divided by b into sin x. Okay, so now as x tends to 0. So if I have sin x by x, then I can apply that limit sin x by x as x tends to 0 is equal to 1. So what you have to do, you have to divide both numerator, because if you're dividing if I are dividing sin x by x, that means in the numerator also you should divide. So divide both numerator and denominator by x. Okay, so that your question doesn't change. Okay, what you have to do, you have to divide the numerator and denominator by x. So what it becomes? Limit x into a plus cos x. This is the numerator, so you are dividing by x, whole divided by b into sin x divided by x as x tends to 0. So what it happens, x get cancelled, so it is equal to limit of a plus cos x divided by b into sin x by x as x tends to 0. Since you can see that this is nothing but it is in the rational form, that is something is there in the numerator divided by denominator. So if you have something like this, as I have discussed earlier, what you have to do, you have to split the limits. That is, you have to find the individual limit and then divide. That is, you have to find what is limit of the numerator, that is what is the numerator, limit of a plus cos x as x tends to 0 divided by limit of the denominator, b into sin x divided by x as x tends to 0. Okay, so when it comes to the numerator, what you have to do, you just have to put x is equal to 0 wherever you have x. So it is a, you don't have any x, so a plus cos 0. But when you come to the denominator, b is a constant, a, b, c are nothing but constant. So what you have to do, take b outside. So if you take b outside, what is remaining? Limit of sin x divided by x as x tends to 0. So that is equal to a plus, what is cos 0? As you know, cos 0 is nothing but 1, correct? The value of cos 0 is 1. 1 divided by b into, what is limit of sin x by x as x tends to 0? As we had discussed, it is nothing but 1. So what do you get? A plus 1 divided by b. This is your answer. Okay, so this is how you will be solving. Coming to the next question, that is limit of x into, next question is this, limit of x into secant x as x tends to 0. What is the first thing you have to do? First put x is equal to 0. See whether you will get it in a defined form or indeterminate form. So it is 0 into secant of 0. Okay, so what you will get, it is 0 into, what is secant 0? Secant 0 is 1. So 0 into 1 is 0. So you have got a determinant form. This is your limit. Okay, if you are getting a well-defined number, then that itself is your limit. If you are getting an undefined number, then that is not the limit, where you have to approach for some other method. Okay, continuing with this, we'll solve few more problems. Okay, this is the next question. Limit of sine. Okay, the next problem is limit of sine ax by plus bx as divided by ax plus sine bx as x tends to 0. So if you have sine x by x form, then you can do something about it, correct? If you have sine x by x, first thing what you have to do is you have to just put x is equal to 0 and see what it happens. So if you put x is equal to 0, what it becomes? Sine a into 0 plus b into 0 divided by a into 0 sine plus sine b into 0. So what it becomes? A into 0 is 0, sine 0 is 0. So 0 plus b into 0 is 0 divided by 0 plus sine b into 0 is 0. So 0 by 0 form, which is an undefined form. So we cannot directly go into that particular method. Direct substitution does not give me the defined limit. So what I have to do now? I have to do some simplification. What simplification you can, the idea will strike is, whenever you see sine, if you have something divided by the same thing, that if you have sine ax by ax, then it can work. Similarly here, if I have sine bx by bx, then it can work. So first thing I have to get is x term, correct? I should get that x term, and I should cancel this x term also. That is also troubling me, right? So what I can do is, I'll be dividing numerator and denominator by x first. Okay, I'll be dividing numerator and denominator by x first. So what it becomes? Limit of individual term. Each term I have to divide. Sine ax by x plus bx by x divided by ax by x plus sine bx by x. So what I have done? I have divided each term by x. Okay, so what it becomes? As x tends to 0. So x cancels. Here x cancels. So now what it has become? Limit of, if I have a here and if I have b here, then I can use that particular limit. But if I have to get a here, then that should not change my question also. Getting a should not change my question also. So what I have to do? If I have to get a here, I have to multiply also by a. Correct? I have to multiply and divide this term by a, and I have to multiply and divide this term by b. So do it. Only that term. So it is a into sine ax divided by ax plus b. Okay, x is cancelled, divided by a plus, here you have to multiply and divide by b. So b into sine bx divided by bx as x tends to 0. Okay, so what it becomes? It is equal to limit of, now as you can see, we have two parts. One is the numerator and one is the denominator. When you have something like this, you have to find the individual limit and then you have to divide. So it is limit of a sine ax divided by ax as x tends to 0 plus b divided by limit of a plus b sine bx divided by bx as x tends to 0. Okay, so that is equal to, if you see, what you have to do basically here is, here you have to apply the limit for each and every term in the sum. Correct? First partiಗೆ limit apply ಮಾಡಬೇಕು, second partiಗೂ limit apply ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಅದೇ ತರ ಇಲ್ಲಿ firstಗೂ secondಗೂ. So I apply the individual limit. But when you are applying to the first part in the numerator, what you can see, a is a constant, so I can take it out. Sine ax divided by ax. So as x tends to 0, ax also tends to 0, as I have told you earlier, plus limit of b as x tends to 0 whole divided by limit of a as x tends to 0 plus, again here b is a constant, so you can take it out, limit of sine bx divided by bx. As x tends to 0, bx also tends to 0. Now simplify. So it is a into, what is limit of sin ax by ax as ax tends to 0? It is 1. Plus, already you know that limit of a constant is always itself. Okay, remember this, limit of a constant is itself. Because we do not have an x term, what you have to do normally, you have to put x value, but there is no x value, so it becomes itself. So limit of a constant is always itself. Similarly here, what is limit of a? Then a itself, plus b into, what is limit of sin bx into 1? It is 1. So what you will get, a into 1 is a plus b divided by a plus b. So it is equal to 1. So what is your limit? The limiting value is 1. Okay, I hope it is clear. We'll go for the next question. Again, we have limit of cosecant x minus cot x. So what you have to do in the beginning, you just have to put x is equal to 0 and see what happens. So if you put x is equal to 0, okay, if you put x is equal to 0, what it becomes? Cosecant of 0. Okay, limit of cosecant 0, sorry, you have to put x is equal to 0 minus cot 0. Okay, cosecant 0 is nothing but 1 by sin 0, correct? Cosecant 0 is nothing but 1 by sin 0. Sin 0 minus 1 by tan 0, correct? So 1 by sin 0 is 1 by 0 minus 1 by tan 0 is also 0. So 1 by 0. So it is an undefined form. Okay, basically it is an undefined form. So you cannot do it in this particular way. So you have to change your method. What is that method? I'll just give you a hint for this particular question. You have to solve it by your own. So what you have to do is, here cosecant x can be written as 1 by sin x minus cot x can be written as cos x by sin x. So what is common here? This is a fraction with the denominators are same. So you can subtract the numerator. So it is limit of 1 minus cos x divided by sin x. Okay. So I'll just give you a hint. What you have to do here basically is apply cos 2x formula here and apply sin 2x formula here. But instead of 2x, here you have to apply for x. So sin 2x is 2 sin x cos x. Correct? Sin 2x is 2 sin x cos x. But here we have sin x. 2x ಇದ್ದಾಗ x ಆಗ್ತಾ ಇದೆ. So sin x ಇದ್ದಾಗ ಏನಾಗ್ತದೆ? 2 sin x by 2 into cos x by 2. Okay, similarly apply cos 2x formula over here. Okay, we have cos 2x, different formula for cos 2x. Under that apply suitable formula and get the answer. This is a homework. Okay, if you are finding difficult, you can contact me. I will let you know how to solve it. Okay. Okay. So far we were discussing about the limit when the function is defined in a single particular form. But what if function is defined in different ways? Okay. So what do you mean by function is defined in different ways? Here you can see this example. What you have to find? You have to find the limit of this particular function as x is tending to 1. But what is wrong with this function? Why can't we do it in the same way? Here you can observe that when x is less than or equal to 1, f of x is defined as x square minus 1, and when x is greater than 1, f of x is defined as minus x square minus 1. Okay, so you can see there are two different definitions, correct? One definition is, if you're considering, here you can see, if it is less than 1, one particular definition, and if it is greater than 1, one particular definition, and you have to find the limit at x is equal to 1 as x tends to 1, correct? So what does that mean? When you are moving to the left of 1, function is f of x is equal to x square minus 1. And when you are moving to the right of 1, it is minus x square minus 1. That is when x is greater than 1 and when x is less than 1. And you have to find the limit at as x tends to 1. So I had told you very clearly in the beginning related to this, that whenever you have to find the limit as x tends to 1, and if you have two different definition for the limit, what you have to do is you have to find what is left hand limit and what is right hand limit. If both are equal, then that is the limit of function as x tends to 1, correct? That is the limit of the function as x tends to 1. So we have to find left hand limit and right hand limit. So what is left hand limit? What is left hand limit? Left hand limit is limit of f of x as x tends to 1. Here we do not want the value. Okay, we don't want the value. We are finding it without finding the value. Okay, we are finding left hand limit without finding the value as x tends to 1 from the left. I hope you remember left is denoted by minus. Okay, so that is limit of, when as x tending to 1 from the left means you are approaching x Okay, you are taking values less than 1, correct? When you are taking values for x less than 1, how is function defined? ಏನಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ x is approaching 1 from the left ಅಂದರೆ ಅದರ ಅರ್ಥ ಏನು, ನೀವು ಎಕ್ಸಿನ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂಸ್ ಯಾವ ಥರ ತಗೋತಾ ಇದ್ದೀರೋ 1ಗಿಂತ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇರೋದು, ಕರೆಕ್ಟಾ? ಯು ಆರ್ ಟೇಕಿಂಗ್ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂಸ್ ಫಾರ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ ವಿಚ್ ಆರ್ ಲೆಸ್ ದ್ಯಾನ್ 1. When value for x is less than 1, how is function defined? Function is defined as x square minus 1 as x tends to 1 minus. Okay, only this much you have to do. Okay, ನೀವೇನು ನೋಡಬೇಕು, ಲೆಫ್ಟಿಂದ ಬರಬೇಕಾದ್ರೆ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ ಹೇಗೆ ಡಿಫೈನ್ಡ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಲೆಫ್ಟಿಂದ ಬರ್ತಿದ್ದೀರಾ ಅಂದರೆ ಎಕ್ಸಿನ ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ 1ಗಿಂತ ಕಡಿಮೆ ಇದೆ, ಹೌದಾ? ಆವಾಗ ಫಂಕ್ಷನ್ ಹೇಗೆ ಡಿಫೈನ್ ಆಗಿದೆ? ಎಕ್ಸ್ ಸ್ಕ್ವೇರ್ ಮೈನಸ್ 1 ಅಂತ ಡಿಫೈನ್ ಆಗಿದೆ. ಸೊ ನೆಕ್ಸ್ಟ್ ಏನು ಮಾಡಿ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ, ವೆರೆವರ್ ಯು ಹ್ಯಾವ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ ರಿಪ್ಲೇಸ್ ಇಟ್ ಬೈ 1. ಸೊ 1 square minus 1, 1 square minus 1 is 1 minus 1 which is 0. So what is your left hand limit? Your left hand limit is 0. Okay, so what did you get for left hand limit? Left hand limit is 0. Okay, now coming to the right hand limit. What do you mean by right hand limit? You're approaching x. You're approaching 1 from the right, which means you're taking values for x greater than 1, correct? You're considering the values of x which are greater than 1. So you have to write that limit of f of x as x tends to 1 from the right. So when you're taking values to the right of 1, which means the x is greater than 1. When x is greater than 1, how is the function defined? When x is greater than 1, f of x is minus x square. So wherever you have f of x, replace it by minus x square minus 1 as x tends to 1 from the right. Now what you have to do? You just have to put the value for x. Okay, what you have to do? You just have to put the value for x. So if you put x is equal to 1, what you will get? Minus 1 square minus 1. So what it is? It is minus 1 which is minus 2. So what did you get for left hand limit? Left hand limit is 0. Right hand limit is minus 2. So whether both are equal? No. Both are not equal. So therefore, what if both are not equal? What we can conclude? Limit f of x as x tends to 1 does not exist. Correct? You remember, limit x tends to 1 does not exist. So simple. We'll see few more problems so that you'll understand it in a better way. Okay, so this is a kind of questions. These kind of questions are why I'm explaining this kind of questions, because the similar kind of questions you can see in the second year also. When you come to the differentiation part, you have the similar kind of questions. So there you should be in a state where you should understand what it is exactly. Okay, so now solution. Again, what you have to find? You have to find limit of function as extending to 0. Correct? Limit of function as extending to 0. But what is the problem with the function? Function is not defined in a single way. When it is not equal to 0, it is mod x by x. And when it is equal to 0, it is 0. So first we need to define the function properly. Okay. So before we define the function, let us write what they have told. Mod x by x if x is not equal to 0, and 0 if x is equal to 0. Okay, now x not equal to 0 means we have two cases, correct? Whenever you say x not equal to 0, there comes two cases. One is x less than 0 or x is greater than 0. Okay, so if x is less than 0, okay, first case is x less than 0. What they have told, when x is not equal to 0, this is how the function is defined. Now x not equal to 0 means either x can be less than 0 or x can be greater than 0. Suppose x is less than 0. Okay, suppose x is less than 0. What happens to your mod x? Do you remember modulus function? When x is less than 0, modulus of x is minus x divided by x. You remember this, students? We had studied long back. So if x is less than 0, mod x is, you're just replacing the mod x value. Mod x is minus x. When x is greater than 0, mod x is x itself. So x by x. Okay, you are only making the changes here because when x is not equal to 0, it is mod x by x. But mod x is, what is the definition of mod x function? Mod x is x if x is greater than 0 or equal to 0, and it is minus x if x is less than 0. You remember, it is x if x is greater than 0, minus x if x is less than 0. The same thing you have to do here. F of x is equal to, when x is less than 0, wherever you have mod x, replace it by minus x, and whenever x is greater than 0, mod x should be replaced by x, and when x is equal to 0, what is the value of the function? They have directly told it is equal to 0. So it is minus 1 minus. So minus 1, x less than 0, x cancels. So it is 1 if x is greater than 0 and 0 if x is equal to 0. Okay, so now I have defined the function in a much easier way. Okay, I have defined the function in much easier way. So now what we have to find? We have to find limit of f of x as x tends to 0. Now, x can approach 0 in two sides. When x is less than 0 also, we can approach, and when x is greater than 0 also we can approach. When x is less than 0, it is left hand limit, and it is equal to limit of f of x tends to 0 from the left, which means you are taking values for the x less than 0. So when x is less than 0, how is the function defined? It is minus 1. So what is your LHL? LHL is minus 1. Similarly, find what is RHL. RHL is limit of f of x as x tends to 0 from the right. When you are saying from the right, which means the value of x is greater than 0. When x is greater than 0, how is the function defined? See, f of x is minus 1 if x is less than 0. It is 1 if x is greater than 0. It is 0 if x is equal to 0. So what is this? This is equal to 1. Okay. Now what you have to see, whether left hand limit is equal to right hand limit? No. Left hand limit is not equal to right hand limit. Therefore, limit of f of x as x tends to 0 does not exist. Okay, does not exist. So you can see the similar kind of question, but a bit different in the textbook. Try to work it out and see whatever the answer they have specified in the textbook, whether you are arriving it for that. Okay, we'll move to the next question. Okay, so this is the last question I'll be taking from the limits parts. In the next video, we'll be discussing about the derivatives. Okay, so now what is this question? And this is a kind of important question because you can see similar kind of questions whenever you study derivatives in your second year. Okay, so what is the question? Suppose function is a plus bx when x is less than 1. Okay, when x is, if you're taking values for x less than 1, then function is defined as a plus bx. If you're taking value for x is equal to 1, then function is 4. When x is greater than 1, function is b minus x. B minus ax. So which means you have to find basically what is a, what is b. But what is the hint they have given? Limit of the function exists. Okay. Whenever if they say limit of f of x as x tends to 1, which means that particular limit exists. When the limit exists, if the left hand limit is equal to right hand limit. So first thing you have to find is what is limit of f of x as x tends to 1. Okay, they have told this is equal to f of 1, but we know what is f of 1. What is f of 1? F of 1 is function value when x is equal to 1. What is the function value when x is equal to 1? It is 4. So we know what is f of 1. So we need to find what is limit of f of x. Okay, we have to find what is limit of f of x so that we can use this equation to find what is a and b. Okay, so now if I have to find the limit of a function at x as x tends to 1, I should know. One thing I will be very clear is limit exists. When does the limit exist? If left hand limit is equal to right hand limit. So I have to find the left hand limit. What is the left hand limit? It is limit of f of x. Okay. It is nothing but limit of f of x as x tends to 1 from the left. Okay, what do you mean by you're tending to x from the left? You're taking the values for x less than 1. Okay, you're taking values for the x less than 1. When x is less than 1, what is f of x? F of x is a plus bx. Okay, when x is less than 1, f of x is a plus bx. So substitute that. Now what you have to do? You have to find the limit. How will you find the limit? Wherever you have x, replace it by 1. So it is a plus b. Okay, so similarly you find what is right hand limit. Okay, you have to find what is right hand limit. Okay, you have to find what is right hand limit. So what is right hand limit? Right hand limit is limit of f of x as x tends to 1 from the right. So from the right means you are taking the values for the x greater than 1. Correct? You are taking values for x greater than 1. So whenever you are taking value for x greater than 1, how is the function defined? Function is defined as b minus ax as x tends to 1 from the right. Next what you have to do, wherever you have x, substitute 1. So it is 1. So it is b minus a. So what did you get? You got left hand limit is equal to a plus b and right hand limit is equal to b minus a. But what do we know? Limit exists. When does the limit exist? If left hand limit is equal to right hand limit. Now, but we know that limit exists and it is equal to f of 1, which means left hand limit should be equal to f of 1 and right hand limit should also be equal to f of 1. ಏನಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ರೆ ಲಿಮಿಟ್ ಎಕ್ಸಿಸ್ಟ್ ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತಾಗ್ತಿದೆ ನಮಗೆ, ಹೌದಾ? ಬಿಕಾಸ್ ಲಿಮಿಟ್ ಅವ್ರು ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಅದು ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಟು ಎಫ್ ಆಫ್ 1 ಅಂತ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಎಫ್ ಆಫ್ 1 ಅಂದರೆ 4. ಲಿಮಿಟ್ ಯಾವಾಗ ಎಕ್ಸಿಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗ್ತದೆ? ಲೆಫ್ಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಲಿಮಿಟ್ ಮತ್ತು ರೈಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಲಿಮಿಟ್ ಎರಡು ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಆದಾಗ. ಬಟ್ ಲೆಫ್ಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಲಿಮಿಟು ಎ ಪ್ಲಸ್ ಬಿ ಅಂತ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ರೈಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಲಿಮಿಟ್ ಬಿ ಮೈನಸ್ ಎ ಅಂತ ಕೊಟ್ಟಿದ್ದಾರೆ. ಆ್ಯಂಡ್ ನಮಗೆ ಬಿ ಎ ಮತ್ತು ಬಿದು ವ್ಯಾಲ್ಯೂ ಫೈಂಡ್ ಔಟ್ ಮಾಡಬೇಕು. ಹೇಗೆ ಫೈಂಡ್ ಔಟ್ ಮಾಡೋದು? ಸಿನ್ಸ್ ಲಿಮಿಟ್ ಎಕ್ಸಿಸ್ಟ್, ಲೆಫ್ಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಲಿಮಿಟ್ ಶುಡ್ ಬಿ ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಟು ರೈಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಲಿಮಿಟ್ ವಿಚ್ ಶುಡ್ ಬಿ ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಟು ಲಿಮಿಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಎಫ್ ಆಫ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ ಆಸ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟೆಂಡ್ಸ್ ಟು 1. ಓಕೆ, ಲಿಮಿಟ್ ಎಕ್ಸಿಸ್ಟ್ ಆಗ್ತಿದೆ ಅಂತ ಅರ್ಥ ಅಂದರೆ ಅದರ ಅರ್ಥ ಏನು ಅಂದರೆ ಲೆಫ್ಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಲಿಮಿಟ್ ರೈಟ್ ಹ್ಯಾಂಡ್ ಲಿಮಿಟಿಗೆ ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಆಗಬೇಕು. ಆಮೇಲೆ ಅವು ಈಕ್ವಲ್ ಯಾವುದಕ್ಕೆ ಆಗಬೇಕು? ಲಿಮಿಟ್ ಆಫ್ ದ ಫಂಕ್ಷನಿಗೆ. ಬಟ್ ವಾಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಲಿಮಿಟ್ ಆಫ್ ಎಫ್ ಆಫ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ ಆಸ್ ಎಕ್ಸ್ಟೆಂಡ್ಸ್ ಟು 1? ಇಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಎಫ್ ಆಫ್ 1. But what is f of 1? It is 4, which means left hand limit should be equal to 4, right hand limit should be equal to 4. What is left hand limit? A plus b is equal to 4, b minus a is equal to 4. Now you have to find values of a and b such that when you add it, you should get 4, and when you subtract b from a also you should get 4. So what are the possible values a and b can take? A is equal to 0, b is equal to 4. If you simplify, you'll get the value. Okay, so this is a kind of important question. I'll stop here, students. So hereafter we'll go for the derivatives. So try to solve the problems whichever are specified in the textbook, and it is an easy chapter and it is an important chapter. Thank you, students.